to talk today about progressive web apps. We're Deity and we're building progressive web apps which we call the future of e-commerce. And we have another person building them, so we're building the future. This is our hashtag or this is our Twitter handle. Please follow us and see what we're doing. Okay, so this is me. I'm the director of Deity, and this is my Twitter in case you want to ask me some questions or do whatever. But let me get to this. This is the thing we're all looking for. Not sure if you can read it, but we're looking for fast web shops. And it's kind of a unicorn we've all been chasing. We all know what is needed to make things fast. And when we finally think we found it, then this happens. And unfortunately, it's not that fast. So 53% of our visitors will be abandoning our mobile pages if it takes longer than 3 seconds to load. That's very, very long. And that's also a very high number. So what we need, what we want, we have a need for speed. And number one, 52% will be gone. Number two is that when we have 1 second delay in the page speed, we will have a conversion rate decrease with 21.8%. And if we look at, if you have a shop with a turnover of 100,000 euros per day, you will lose a potential 2.5 million per year, just by 1 second. If you compare 5 seconds load time versus 19 seconds load time, 60% of the page views will be greater if you have 5 seconds instead of 19, and you will have a 35% lower bounce rate. And you might think, okay, 19, 19 is, okay, 19, who has 19? Well, actually, 19 is the average load mobile on 3G. So I'm still surprised that people actually buying online after 19 seconds is the load time. So we have a dream. And this dream we call progressive web apps. And it started like this. What is a progressive web app? A progressive web app is basically a web application that is browser-based but appears to the users as a native mobile application. I will go later a little bit deeper how this actually works and what it is, but this is the basic. We want to be able to create the experience of native apps through the browser. And why do we want that? When we look on what time we spend on our mobile phones, we spend 13% on mobile websites and 87% we spend on native apps. And now you all might think, okay, let's start building native apps. What the hell are you talking about, PWA? But yeah, there is a catch. 80% of this time we actually spend just in 3 apps. We're spending it in Messenger app, a social media app, and a news app, or something to read content. And this because of this. The capabilities of apps are extremely high, and with this you create a very high engagement. But the reach is very low. And if you look at browsers, in the same time we're spending all this time in these 3 apps, with the time we spend on the mobile website, we visit over 100 maps websites every month. So that the reach is very high, but the capabilities are very low, so yeah. If you look at the average amount that someone, oh, there is a hole here, of apps being installed by users per month. Does anybody know what is the average amount? You know. It's 0. People don't install apps. So you could make a great app and you could make something really cool, but who's going to install your app? How are you going to get users to actually start using it? So it brings me back to this, because we do have a very high reach on mobile websites. So what if we can get the reach of the mobile map sites and combine it with the capabilities of apps? This is the potential we're going to get. And this is, if you look at what a progressive web app is, that's basically it. It's combining a native app and responsive websites together in one. This was shared on the Slack channel in community engineering, so please all go there, follow it, it's really cool. Okay, back to the dream. So, the dream we had started with a single page application. We want to build a website which is a single page application. And single page applications are not new. And I'm pretty sure almost all of you once built a single page application. And it started many years ago. It started with this, Flash. This was a single page application. And many people don't realize that this is actually what we were building, single page apps. We wanted to be fast as native, because Flash wasn't really fast, and we want to make sure that our websites are fast as native from the core, from the get-go, not after rounds and rounds and rounds of improvements. We just want it to be fast. We want to have access to the hardware, because we want to spy on our users. We want to make sure that we can see what they're doing, where they are. We can make personalized content by that. If we know someone is at a certain location with a certain temperature or whatever, we want to make sure they can use their cameras to upload their stuff, give them a better experience, etc. We want to be network independent because we don't have everywhere good networks. People are also traveling. They might be going the train, in the metro, in the plane. We want to make sure they can still use or at least see something. It doesn't have to be fully offline, but you need to at least show them something, create an engagement with them. And we want it to be responsive, but not only responsive in the sizes of the screens, we want it to be responsive over the operating systems. Now when we build a native app and a mobile and a website, we have a website and we have two native apps basically. We're building in iOS, we're building in Android. But we want to just build one application which can hit all of them. And this is progressive web apps. This is the reality. So if we look at it, we have a lot of Magento there, WooCommerce and many other shops. And what it is, there's jQuery everywhere. There's PHP templating. We have weak APIs. And if we're lucky, we might find some SaaS. So let's break it down a bit. If we look at Magento, Magento 1, we have that prototype.js. And this one is pretty funny, because there's still many, many shops running on Magento 1, and they're trying to improve the mobile experience. But prototype.js came out 2 years before the iPhone came out. So how can you build with a technology something that didn't even exist at the moment we created the technology? It didn't even exist. iPhones were not there. We have templates in plain PHP. We have inline JavaScript. And if we want to display a price tag, this is the amount of code we need for it. So let's get to Magento 2. So Magento 2, PWA Studio, great. Andrew will tell you something about it, but when is it going to come? Maybe he will release it finally, but we're still there. We're still there. We have Knockout, Require.js, jQuery UI, and yeah, that's not the prettiest thing in the world either. And the time it took to take these decisions and implement them, these libraries are, I wouldn't say fully abandoned, but they're not super active either. We have no bundling, and we have XML, PHP for layout compositions. And especially the last one, what does that mean? I feel like this. Welcome to the Giza. This is how the code looks like. Pyramids all over the place. So yeah, Bartek made an extremely nice tweet about how it feels to work with Magento 2 and the checkout. Good. But yeah, finally, on the last day, we have the PWA now. And what is progressive web apps? Normally, I do this talk and then I talk about what a progressive web app is. But this time, last week, I found a video of some of my personal heroes, and I think many of you as well, who is actually explaining this. I have a video of Steve Jobs explaining what is a progressive web app on the day he released the first iPhone. So I want you to listen to this and have a look. And I hope the sound will work.
But I do have one last thing that I want to talk about. And that, of course, is the iPhone. The iPhone ships on June 29th. That is just 18 days from today. I believe at 6 p.m. in the evening, they will go on sale. June 29th, 18 days from today. Now, what about developers? What about developers? We have been trying to come up with a solution to expand the capabilities of iPhone by letting developers write great apps for it, and yet keep the iPhone reliable and secure. And we've come up with a very sweet solution. And let me tell you about it. So, we've got an innovative new way to create applications for mobile devices. Really innovative. And it's all based on the fact that iPhone has the full Safari inside it. The full Safari engine is inside of iPhone. And it gives us tremendous capability, more than has ever been in a mobile device to this date. And so you can write amazing Web 2.0 and AJAX apps that look exactly and behave exactly like apps on the iPhone. And these apps can integrate perfectly with iPhone services. They can make a call. They can send an email. They can look up a location on Google Maps. After you write them, you have instant distribution. You don't have to worry about distribution. Just put them on your internet server. And they're really easy to update. Just change the code on your own server rather than having to go through this really complex update process. And they're secure with the same kind of security you'd use for transactions with Amazon or a bank. And they run securely on the iPhone so that they don't compromise its reliability or security. And guess what? There's no SDK that you need. You've got everything you need if you know how to write apps using the most modern web standards to write amazing apps for the iPhone today. You can go live on June 29th.
2007. So 10 years later, we finally have this. And I think 11. And I think one of the most interesting things what he says, he's explaining about the security, he's explaining about the update process, one platform to work on, and 1 year after he releases the App Store. And then all of a sudden we had to go through that complex process of getting our apps, some were released, getting the updates through there, etc. But this is where he explained it already. So yeah, let me go quick through it. When we look at a progressive web app, we have something which is reliable, network independent. We have something that is extremely fast, and we need to have engagement there. So, don't get me wrong, we love Magento. But what we did with Magento, we cut off his head. Because we didn't like the front end. And we thought we could do this better, much better, by building progressive web apps. And what did we do? See pictures, and we'll wait. Yeah. So what did we do with Deity? So what we did, instead of having the front end and the back end strongly together, monolithic system, what we did, we cut it off. So we made the front end separately from the back end, and we placed in between an API. The front end is built on React.js, the middleware is built on Node.js, and then we have Magento in the back end. But we not only have Magento, we actually are using different backends here. Because now, with having the front end separate and having an API in between, we can also make sure that the backend is going to be based as a SOA architecture. And we can use other programs and other things like a service. So what did we do? We're using Magento, for example, for products. Then we have Algolia there. We're using it for search directly. There is no Algolia inside Magento. We're using, for example, WordPress for blogging. At the same page, at the front end, you're going to see a blog, which is coming directly from WordPress. And there's going to be products there, which is coming directly from Magento, and they are not connected with each other, only going through the API. We can use PayPal directly for payments. And we can use, for example, Akeneo if you want it for your products there. But the most interesting thing about this is when you want to make a switch. When you don't like, for example, WordPress anymore, or you need something different there, you don't have to rebuild your whole system. You can just disconnect your WordPress and pull something else in. Just change where the entries are. So this is our demo. Oh, let me get back. It should start. And it doesn't start. One more click. Oh, here it starts. So this is our demo website. This one, as you can see, there is Algolia. There's two different sources I'm searching in, either Magento and WordPress at the very same time. These are the products being loaded, and as you can see, it's very fast. As soon as I go to the blog, I see WordPress content here. I go back, I see products again, and as you can see, the page is fast as native. You can all give it a try. It's really, really fast. And we built this in under 200 hours. The whole shop there. So, if you all go to demo.deity.io, and especially the guys using Android. Are there any people here using Android? A few? Okay, have a look. What you're going to see is the following. You're going to see this message here. This message asking you to add it as an app directly. You don't go through the App Store anymore. It's directly on your phone as an app. And it's an actual app, because you will have a splash screen. You will not see the browser anymore. There is no browser. It's a real app at this moment. And what we can do as well, but I will promise you that I won't do it, we can start sending you push notifications now. But I promise I will not do it. I will not bother you. So this is the level of engagement you're getting just by going to our website. And I know iOS has been trying to push this for a long time, but now since last week, we have 11.3 and things are getting in there. So we don't have to worry about that anymore. But this is a level you get. When we build this, we only build one platform. We didn't have to build an app. It didn't have to be approved by any other third party, I don't know what. We just build it. It's there. It's popping up your message, and you have the app directly on your phone. When we update, you don't need to reinstall. There is no message from your app store to install it. It's updated because it's on our server, exactly like Steve Jobs just explained he wanted to do 10 years ago, 11 years ago. That's what we're doing. Engagement. But let me get back to the most interesting part. Front-end versus back-end. Because right now, at the moment, when guys are building a Magento shop or whatever kind of system, monolithic system, the front-end guys need to work very closely with the back-end guys. They even need to understand part of the back-end guys, and they cannot work separately. They need to also wait for the back-end guys, and they don't really have the full power on what they want, because the back-end will determine what they are going to get and how things will work. But with this concept, with headless technology, with PWA, that's not needed anymore. We finally have the power for the front-end developers, where it should be. So yeah, our front-ends got hacked. Let me show you. This is a very brief example. I wanted to do this live, but with the time, I decided to just show you the video. What I'm going to show here is something called hot reload. And here you can see how extremely fast and extremely easy it is for front-end developers to start changing stuff on the website. So here we have a message saying hot reload is fast. And here I'm going to change it into hot reload is extra fast. And then I'm going to change the color. You're going to see how fast this is. So I'm typing there extra fast now. And let's see, it should pop up very soon. Changing the color, extra fast is already there. And changing the color is there. This is called hot reload. This is the speed you can develop with. And you don't have to wait for the backend developer to do stuff for you. You can just do it, prepare it. You just make sure you have your endpoints there. We are now at the moment integrating GraphQL even in our system, so that makes it even more easier. So you just tell, as a front-end guy, you tell the backend, this is what I want, this is how it should look like, please provide it. But in the meantime, you can already build. You can build whatever you want. You don't have to wait anymore. But yeah, this is the general message we get. When I try to talk with people about this and the adoption level of, hey guys, we need something new, this is what people tell me. We need to go from Magento to Spotify. And this is an actual customer telling us this. So we need to work on the engagement level. We need to make sure that people start understanding that there's next steps to be taken, and we need to move forward. We need to move to PWA. PWA is the future. And it's not something I made up. It's something Gartner did research for. They said by 2020, 2 years, we have progressive web. It's 50%. So guys, we have some work to be done. And we all don't even know, many of us don't even know what it is or how to start working with it. And this is why we at Deity made a project for you. We made the whole product, and we're going to release it soon, open source. We cannot do it now yet. We're refactoring. We're working with many partners in the community to make sure that it's ready for you. But in the meantime, we released something pretty cool. Check this out. It's a Miro client, and what we did, we built a small project for you where you can start using the Node.js application and can start building the React frontend. The time to set this up is taking you 5 minutes. Then you can just start building React. There is a Node application which is connecting to our demo store, so our actual Magento store is behind it, Node in between, and you can start playing around and try to learn how to work with React. 5 minutes to set it up. If you have anything, questions or results, please share it through our Twitter channel. So yeah, let's hope these screens are going to be in the past very soon. Thank you, guys.